in one place. This meeting of the Bolton Conservation Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to view or participate in this meeting while in progress may do so by visiting the agenda on the town website, where you will find information to call in. A record of this meeting shall also be posted to continue our regular practice of doing so. And as always, we will start with a roll call. I am Brian Barabee.
Kip McNamara.
Emily Winter.
Bill Payne. Bill Payne.
Rebecca Longbaugh.
All right, Rebecca, first up this evening, the Bolton Conservation Commission will now open the public hearing regarding a notice of intent of applicability under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and under the Bolton Wetland Bylaw, Chapter 233, regarding the proposed in-ground pool to be located at 265 Sawyer Road. Do we have anybody here representing the applicants tonight?
We do, so I'm unmuting Matt Morrow.
Good evening, everybody. Matt Morrow here on behalf of Kevin Vaughn, the applicant. The commission will recall from our last meeting, the meeting was continued for a site inspection. We had the site inspection last week and we're here now.
Thank you.
Can I ask first, did we get a DEP filing number for this?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes. Do you have that on hand, Matt, by any chance?
I don't have it on hand. All I remember, it was issued by Gary Domain and there was no comment on it.
Right. So there were no comments and I can get that number. So I think the only concern that was relayed is that the current plans, which I believe you can observe here that I've shared, pool's proposed right on top of the reserve leaching trenches. And I think the concern would be ensuring that that can be located in between the primary leaching trenches to ensure that they wouldn't be moved further into the jurisdictional area of the commission if the pool is constructed here. And I recall that, Matt, you had stated you had an engineering company working on that and drawing up new plans of which you would then submit or bring before Board of Health.
Women of Bingham Associates is currently working with Snyder Pools and Mr. Pong on they're redesigning the plan to show that the leaching trenches, based on the period when the house was built, that the space between the leaching trenches is sufficient as a reserve area. We're waiting for Women of Bingham to finish generating that material. Mr. Brookings is waiting for it. He's indicated to my client, Mr. Snyder, that it should be fine. He's just waiting for the plans from them.
And who's Mr. Birkins?
I'm sorry, Mr. Brookings.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I apologize. Is there a way, that I think was really one of the major or more obvious.
May I make a suggestion? If the commission's open to it?
The chair can weigh in on that.
Yeah, well, what's the suggestion? Yeah.
Well, I know it had been discussed on site, and if the commission deems it appropriate to approve an order of conditions, we could make a conditional on the Board of Health approving the new septic system plan. That would make any construction on the pool essentially prohibited until such time as the Board of Health submits the plan, and we would have to submit it to the file.
Sure. The only issue I could see with that is once we close the public hearing, we can't accept any new information. And typically with a notice of intent, you would want to reference in the order of conditions the exact plan that has been approved and not have it contingent upon. If we had the updated plans already drawn up and said, these are the plans we're referencing contingent upon Board of Health approval, that's different. And I think that would be something the commission, under their jurisdiction and under their common practices, would be allowed to do without much issue there. But where we would be be unable to reference the plans that are being approved, I see there being a potential issue there. And that I would not encourage the commission to start that practice.
Well, I would point out on behalf of my client that the actual location of the septic system and anything on the plan isn't going to change from what you see before you. It would just simply eliminate the reserve area that's noted on these plans. The plan itself wouldn't change. Location of the septic system wouldn't change. Nothing on it would change. It would just simply eliminate the reserve area on the plans as being the actual reserve area observed by the Board of Health. That would be it.
Understood. And I think where my guidance comes from in terms of informing the Conservation Commission about things they should be thinking about is, in the future, when the reserve leaching trenches need to be utilized, the plan that they currently have before them and are considering does not show that the reserve is going to be between those trenches. There have been issues in the past on other projects where the Board of Health has approved one project, one set of plans, and the Conservation Commission has not. And then it's, okay, now we have to come back to the Conservation Commission, get it approved so that we can continue with this project. So I'm actually thinking and trying to encourage the commission as well to think into the future on the residents' behalf, as well as the resource area's behalf. Say we need to define this area now before the pool's put in. This isn't finalized yet. Now we're referencing a set of plans that isn't accurate. That may be a moot point, but at this current moment, this is where the reserve leaching field is. The pool is proposed on top of it. It would be very clear and beneficial if we had the updated set of plans, even without the Board of Health approval, just showing those trenches where they're going to be, as you're saying, so that the commission can then, in their order of conditions, if they so choose to issue one, may then reference it properly and be approving it, if they wish, contingent upon Board of Health approval. And I mean, I would obviously defer to the Conservation Commission, but that would be my guidance.
Oh, understood.
All right. That said, which also makes a lot of sense to me too, and we'll let everybody else weigh in too. Other questions I had, just as it was marked out in the field, did we get an answer of, is there a patio going around the back end of it? And, how wide would a patio be? And then again, I have to assume it's going to be fenced. And is there a fence coming? Where does the fencing go in? Those are things I was kind of looking for to see if they were on this map.
Okay, you forgive me, I'm just writing notes down.
No, that's fine. And I could be wrong. I honestly don't know what the statutes are, but I thought pools needed to be fenced.
Yeah, there would be a fence around the pool area.
And is that perimeter shown on this? The red that I'm looking at seems to be just the pool and not what's coming off of it.
Well, it's the pool, the apron around the pool, and the fence goes on top of the apron.
Okay.
There's a brick patio already existing, well, in the front of it. So any patio expansion, from what I was told, would be in the front here.
When we were on site last week, we were told that there would be patio on the backside towards the forested area.
Okay.
The edge of the grass line.
I don't recall that part of the discussion.
Yeah. So the representative from Snyder Pool had stated that they were looking to go with the fence and the patio to the edge of the landscaped area, so the edge of the lawn where the brushed material was, and that they would be placing the erosion control along the brush line, and I believe a foot or two into the brush line, because they were going up to that line with the patio and associated fence. So I
Mhm.
believe what the chair was just inquiring about is, since you're updating the plans to show the proper location of the reserve leaching trenches, it may be beneficial, and it sounds like the commission is requesting that, to include the patio and fencing area on this plan, as it will be placed on the property versus just the box of where the proposed pool structure and apron will be.
Okay, got it. No, I'm just writing this down.
Yep.
So if I turn my head, forgive me, I'm just writing notes.
That's okay.
Mr. Chairman, you're still muted.
Appreciate that. Sorry about that. That basically were my initial questions on the project, and I was just going to open it up to see if there were other commission members that had any initial questions or things they wanted clarification on or anything. Okay.
No.
All right.
I would suggest, when the commission does condition this project, to just memorialize in a condition that the existing access road is to be used, as was mentioned on site as well.
Is that, I'm sorry, can you just scroll? I didn't see this plan from, I don't think was this in the last meeting? Is the access road shown on here? Is that something that we want to, it doesn't even have to be in CAD, just like shaded in or something, or identified on this plan? Is that something, Brian, that you think we should see? If they're updating plans, even if it's just highlighted or something that just says access road, existing access road to be utilized during construction or something.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say that if we're able to update the plans, just to, like you said, draw it, it doesn't even have to be an official thing, but just to give an idea of where that access road is.
Yeah.
And then what was being proposed as erosion control, Matt? Do you remember?
It was wattles and silt fence.
Okay, thank you.
Stake wattles and silt fence.
Thank you.
Which I think was fun. Just looking at the topography and how it dropped off or rolled off, I think either is fine. I didn't think it was a significant drop or anything. It ends up flattening back there a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty flat behind where the pool is going in.
Yeah. Rebecca, do you know, is anybody here tonight to comment on this from the public?
I will look. I see no raised hands. And nothing in the chat box.
Okay. All right. That said, if it's possible, it would seem like if we could continue it until our next meeting to try to get an updated plan and just some sort of plans that we can reference for the reserve trenches, at least so we can reference an actual plan that's been submitted. That said, I think it's probably best to try to continue this till our next hearing. We can always close it, see if that stuff comes in, and then vote next time. But if possible, I think I'd like to continue, if that is okay with Matt.
Yes, it's fine.
All right. So any additional questions right now from anybody on the commission, or Matt, does that seem clear so far?
No, it's pretty straightforward, Mr. Chairman.
Did we, I'm sorry, I don't mean to open a can of worms, but did we ask for the, just a dashed line where the limit of work / erosion control will be? Did we already ask for that?
I think
nope,
we just
but we
did.
can.
Yeah.
Okay.
If
I'm just
possible.
like access road, full scope, and limit of work / erosion control should all be on the proposed plan, right?
Right, yep. So the full scope, including the patio fence, reserve leach trenches, and then limit of work, like you stated, and the access road. That's great.
That would be great.
Okay.
Rebecca, could you remind me the date of our next meeting?
The 29th.
2/9?
Yep.
And what's our first open time?
8:05.
8:05. Wow, we got a full one.
Yes.
All right. In that case, I'd like to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for 265 Sawyer Road till our next meeting, Tuesday, September 29th at 8:05 p.m. Do I
Second.
hear? All right. All those in favor, Kip,
Aye.
Emily,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I'm an I myself.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, have a great night.
You as well.
Two.
All right, Rebecca, are you ready for me to continue, or do you want a
I
second?
am. I'm ready.
All right. Okay, so the Bolton Conservation Commission will now open a public hearing regarding a request for a determination of applicability under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and under the Bolton Wetland Bylaw, Chapter 233, regarding 147 Sugar Road for proposed tree removal. More of a mouthful than it needed to be. Do we have anybody here representing the applicants?
Yes.
Yes,
We do. You are
All right,
unmuted. Perfect.
We did have a
So-
chance to come out and do a site visit, and thank you for marking the trees you wanted to remove. Do you have anything you need to add tonight?
no, there's no additional. I think it was a good visit. I think they got a good chance to see what was here.
I
Um,
agree.
I'll start. I had no problem with the trees being proposed to be removed. I could see a lot of it for safety concerns, especially some of the older ones that looked a little sick there, and the ones that overhung the house. Especially the tree in the front yard. I don't know if it's even jurisdictional to us. If it has to go, that's up to you. As far as the ones in the backyard go, I appreciate you said you're going to leave the stumps.
Yes.
I was wondering if you would be willing, and I'd like to hear from other commission members too, to spike at least two of those trees. And by spike, it means basically just cutting it off at about 6 to 8 feet tall. So it still comes up about 6 feet out of the ground. It's dead. We use it a lot for habitat. It makes good habitat, and it also kind of keeps some of that shade on that surface as it's going down. But other than that, I had no major questions on the project or concerns. I guess I'll open it if any other members of the commission have thoughts, ideas, or questions. Okay,
Okay, so just a question of clarification. So
please.
when you say 6 to 8 feet tall, so all of the trees in the back line that we're looking to chop, we would leave those at 6 to 8 feet. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I would say maybe two of them. I'm trying to think, was it 6 trees total back there? I can't remember. What was the total?
Let's see, there's six trees, I think.
I think it was 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 6. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I just want to make sure I'm clear on what it is we're asking
Yes.
the company to do.
Yeah, and they've probably heard the term before, and it's literally, instead of cutting it down at the stump, it's cutting it down at about 6 to 8 feet tall and just leaving it there.
Yeah, that makes sense, and we can get something else to grow around it, so it'll fill in, which would be nice.
And you'll hopefully get nice birds and other things too.
Yeah.
Usually you get good habitat. So, were there other questions from commission members or concerns?
Yeah.
Rebecca, do you have any thoughts, concerns?
Nope.
Okay. Is there anybody here from the public to comment this evening?
I see no hands raised and no chats.
Beautiful. All right. In that case, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing for 147 Sugar Road.
Second.
All those in favor, Kip,
Aye.
Emily,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I'm an I as well. And then I'm gonna get this right, Rebecca, one of these years. I'd like to make a motion that we have a -3 determination for the RDA for 147 Sugar Road with the following condition. that 2 of the trees that are being removed in the backyard, back of the property, be spiked to 6 or 8 feet tall, and the rest, the trunks be allowed to. The rest, the trunks are maintained and be allowed to stay.
Do you want to add in about no stump grinding?
Yeah, and that basically that no stump grinding take place on any of the trees that are being removed.
That's in the back, of the stump grinding is in the front tree. We have to stump grind it.
Yeah, so maybe within resource area?
Yeah, yep, no
Okay.
stump grinding within the resource area. That should leave the front tree out of
Yep.
the, all right. So does that now all make sense? Did I kind of get that out right? Okay, good. In that case, is there a second on this motion?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Kip,
Aye.
Emily,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well, Rebecca.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So Gary, I will have that document drafted up. The commission will sign the document, and then we will provide you with a copy for your files. We'll send a copy to DEP for their files, and we'll have one on record as well. Okay.
Excellent.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Bye now. And Rebecca, let me know, are you caught up and ready?
I am ready.
You're the best. All right, the Bolton Conservation Commission will now continue a request for a certificate of compliance under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and under the Bolton Wetland Bylaw, Chapter 233, regarding the repair and replacement of a drain with a box culvert, repair to an island, and sidewalks to be located around 460 Main Street.
Okay.
Is there an update on this?
There is, and they have requested another continuance because we were waiting for the log still. We did receive, as I emailed to you, the updated narrative, which was a significant piece of what we were missing. And now I have been in regular correspondence with one of the property's representatives, so they are actively working towards acquiring the logs from the individual who leases the property. So it's not the same individual. And once those are submitted, then they would like to obviously move forward with the request, but we are still waiting for those documents.
Okay. In that case, I would like to, well, unless anybody has any objections, I'm going to continue it till the next meeting. Rebecca, did you have a time slot in mind, or are we 8:15? Oh, I think you're muted.
Let me just confirm that quickly.
Sure.
Eight 10 will probably work.
Yep. All right. I'd like to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for 460 Main Street until our next meeting, Tuesday, September 29th at 8:10 p.m. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Bill was getting in there. All right, all those in favor, Kip? Maybe. Lose Kip?
Aye.
Thank you. Emily?
Aye.
Bill? Oh no, did we lose Bill?
Aye.
All right, and I'm an aye as well, Rebecca.
Okay.
Would you like to give us a Taggart update when you have a moment?
Yes. So The property owner was actually in, I apologize, that was my dog.
All right.
The property owner was on the East Coast and with appropriate quarantine time, and had stopped into town hall to just meet and check in on how the process was going. We're still on track for closing on time. And she was in just discussing and showing some options that she had come across for the bench to honor her father on the property, as we previously discussed. She's leaning more towards a rustic bench, a granite type sitting area, but she will obviously wait in terms of placement to work with the town to see where exactly things are going to be oriented and where trails are going to go when we're at that point. So that is my update currently, and we're still waiting on hearing back from 2 grants.
All right. Thank you. Looking at our minutes for September 3rd, look pretty good. I think you have Kip listed twice and Bill not listed.
Okay.
Is one. But other than that, I did not really have question or issue with them. Did anybody else have any question with the minutes? Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? Give everybody another minute or so. All right. Rebecca, can I ask, was there any mail? It looks like there was nothing major that came in.
There was not. We did get a notice from Freedom's Way just about some of their programs coming up, which is available online as well if you go to the Freedom's Way website.
All right. All right. Any questions regarding those minutes from the 2nd? All right. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes for our September 3rd, 2020 meeting as drafted and submitted. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, starting with Kip.
Aye.
Emily.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well, Rebecca. When you have a moment, would you like to give us an update on Vaughn Hills or any other maintenance or ongoing issues we may have encountered?
Sure. I first would like to note, as always, we still are looking for our volunteer land steward. That is also related to conservation maintenance. We received a report, actually, I received it from multiple residents, of a candle and incense being lit on one of the conservation properties, which actually had begun to spread slightly and burn some of the surrounding leaf litter. Since we are in a drought, I'm not surprised that it was starting to creep. The police were notified and the fire department were notified. Again, this is after the fact, once it was reported. I went out and posted signage within the area that it was reported to have taken place, to just make it quite obvious that fires are not allowed on conservation area without written consent. And typically the without written consent is only specific to the Tom Denny Nature Camp, and it's a very controlled environment and for very specific items. For this particular situation, there was no permission given, obviously, because no one was aware of it. And it's also during a drought, which is concerning on its own level. Going into the future, we will keep an eye on this area, as it seemed to be more of a not a violation that was meant to be vicious. However, it is still a prohibited use and can be quite dangerous when it's left versus put out right away. If and when we find the individuals who were doing the incense burning and candle burning, then we will speak with them directly and notify them that this is a prohibited action. And if it continues, then we will get officers and the police involved in it if necessary. But I think just the notice has put a halt on what was going on there. But thank you to those who did share what was going on our conservation property and had shared it with the community so that it then actually was brought to our attention. I was out with one of our volunteers on our wilder conservation area, trying to just trim back and cut in a trail that's existed for a very long time, but has become quite overgrown with invasives, but also it is a meadow, so it grows up during the summer and then dies back. We found that there used to be a duckboard crossing there, and it has since disappeared or been removed. So what the Trails Committee is looking to do is to replace that with one of our regularly used bridges. So with the Trex or with a duckboard-like feature supported by 2x4s, just to span the width. I believe it's about a 12 to 13 foot width because the stream channel there has eroded slightly. And we are looking to improve that area by removing invasives, but also just keep that trail open as it's been for some time.
Sounds like a solid plan. I have no issues with the trail committee doing that as you're proposing it.
Okay.
Does anybody
That's
else
all I
have any issues? All right. Any new business? Anything else that somebody would like to bring up or needs to bring up? Just wants to talk? All right. Barring that, I'd like to make a motion that we officially close our Tuesday, September 15th, 2020 meeting of the Bolton Conservation Commission. Do I hear a second on that?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, starting with Kip,
Aye.
Emily,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. Everybody have a wonderful week, and I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Yes. Thank you all.
Good night.
Have a good evening.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye.